Coming up on Verse, Chorus, Verse, warning for everybody. Wild speculation ahead. This is basically one of your uncle's favorite conspiracy spots of our lives, and we're about to talk about it. That's next.
The sun would set and we would come alive. We could go all night. The years have passed.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Verse, Chorus, Verse, episode 210. I'm just going to make the Unplugged one episode no matter how long it was. I am DL. That's what she said. Here I am with Rachel. Courtney did it polio. Rachel, how you doing?
Oh, she may have.
The truth hurts.
She may have.
Yeah. How
I
are
don't
you?
know. We're going to talk about it.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Are you?
You know, Trevor was making fun of me buying this gigantic beer earlier today. I am halfway through it after one episode.
What?
I'm halfway through.
Half proud of you, girl.
You're going to be fully proud of me at the end of this.
God.
Trust me.
That's it.
Also with us is Svend. The CIA did it. Knutsen. Svend.
Ooh, also.
How you doing tonight?
Yeah? What?
Is it cutting out?
Weird. And of course, we have evil Macaulay Culkin did it. Jimmy.
Maybe.
Evil. How you doing tonight?
I am so excited for this portion of the evening.
Evil loves a conspiracy theory.
Oh my gosh.
Does he?
Yeah. He's
Oh.
crazy.
I
didn't know
am
that.
not a conspiracy theorist. I am a conspiracy therapist.
Therapist.
In the last episode, we talked about Nirvana Unplugged. For those of you that don't know, that are coming to check in on the Nirvana stuff, because I feel like there's going to be plenty of you that come in specifically for Nirvana, go listen to the other stuff. As you can tell by this sentence, we're very eloquent, and we know
Yes.
exactly what we're doing.
Good words.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We did Unplugged in the last episode. Go listen to that. Nirvana Unplugged, to be specific. It was amazing. We were all great. Svend, Rachel, and
Yes.
Evil. Brilliant points had all around.
I thought he was seriously going to be like, not so much, but me. So,
Yeah. What we have been covering this year is 1994. 30 years since 1994, what we realized, thank you to Evil, is that it is probably the best year of all time for album releases. And
Yeah.
the biggest story of 94, I mean, I guess if you're not South African, would be the death of Kurt Cobain.
Well,
Why are you making the scared face at the end of apartheid? Rachel is against the end of apartheid, ladies
I
and
know.
gentlemen.
Isn't it terrible?
Rachel, so you didn't like when Nelson Mandela was elected.
Stop.
Explain yourself, please.
David,
Rachel Womandela polio.
get out of here.
We've got to cover 1994's death of Kurt Cobain, and we had to bring in our ringer, Svend Knutsen, for it.
aren't we?
Svend,
What do you keep
how
calling me
many
the ringer?
conversations?
You are the ringer.
Because sometimes you're good at your job. Svend,
Sometimes.
Only when he's talking.
how many drunk conversations have you and I had in our life about Kurt Cobain?
If I remembered that, I wouldn't have been drunk.
It was a very, very
It
good
was
point.
it's a bunch.
Yes.
Enough that I forgot. I do good at that.
I left
You do good.
I
I left this.
Proud of you.
I like that he says, if I would have remembered that, I wouldn't have been drunk, which makes no fucking sense. It's since I was drunk, I don't remember that. I love that so much that proceed. Keep going. You guys just need to keep going.
It's
I
an art
left
form, Jimmy. It's an art form.
this episode completely open-ended, completely. In fact, I think my outline for this was he dead.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it's a blinking cursor.
Did it on purpose. Rachel, don't give too much away. What angle, what rabbit hole dug you the deepest?
All of them.
Oh, okay.
There's a
Okay.
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
You guys. There are a lot. Here's the thing about being a heroin addict. The amount of pieces of shit that end up in your inner circle,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
it's fucking
I mean,
crazy.
I had a little Amy Winehouse PTSD because I was just like all these people killing him instead of trying to keep him alive, but also providing him with it's just
It's a mess.
It's so ugly, and because there's so many conspiracy theory, like there can be so many conspiracy theories because of all of the people that surrounded him. Because it
Can I
really...
ask what's in your hand?
Oh, it's just a thumb drive. I just need to have something in my hands at all times. And it's quiet.
Stimming.
Second where I
Also
thought
true.
you were vaping, and I was like, what?
That's
in the
what she
blue
said?
fuck is happening right now? Sven, same question.
Like that you just fake vaped out of a...
Did you study for this? And if so, what direction did your ways sway?
I'll admit, full disclosure, I did not this past week, month, etc. research, do any studying for this.
Unlike the other episodes.
I am, yeah. Right? Which I studied very intensely.
Good call. Good call.
I was obsessed with this topic
Yeah.
from the ages of 14 through maybe 18. And I
mean,
feel
younger
that
than that, too, right?
slightly. I didn't really dive in until I think I was in 14, 15 maybe. Like
Okay.
by dive in, I mean it was the 90s, so we finally had the internet. So my dial-up connection was solid, just connected me to everything. I even had to go back to the mall with my parents because I shoplifted like 4 books about Kurt Cobain and his death because I couldn't
Svend.
afford $30 books, and I wanted all
Books were $30
$120
back then?
worth of books. The thick
Why'd you have to
ones.
go back to the store?
To return them.
Because I had to return them because I got
Do the right
caught,
thing.
and that was the only way the store was not going to press charges, was that if I came in with my parents and apologized in person while giving them their merchandise back. All I know is that I think I have the right answer.
Ooh.
I'm not going to share it now because I think you just said no spoilers.
Yeah.
No.
But I know exactly. Yeah, I can give the conclusive answer
Oh,
at the end of this.
oh shit.
What happened?
Very
Kurt
excited
Cobain.
to know what really happened.
Ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
Wow.
Svend actually has the
Cracked it.
answer.
But you have to
Cracked
listen
it.
to the whole episode.
You just got to wait for it
Yeah.
because
See you in 2 hours.
Our person who, according to him, is not our conspiracy theorist, which is the opposite of the truth. Which way did you end up going for this episode?
So, okay, I literally knew nothing beyond just like the pop culture. Courtney did it sort of
Yeah.
sentiment. I knew nothing, literally nothing about the case. And oh boy, when I just start digging a little bit, and I'm like, oh no, this is
Yeah.
full of deep, dark rabbit holes. And who knows what's right, what's correct. But oh my, I will say this. You've said that this is the biggest story of the year. And then you also bring up OJ.
Yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
that the investigation of whatever happened with Kurt's death was like truncated immediately when that white Bronco
Yeah.
hit everyone's television screens.
Yeah.
And no one thought about it. It was like, it was a suicide, case closed, move on. And I don't know if that's actually the case.
All three of you, did you or have you before, did you for this watch any of the Soaked in Bleach, Montage of Heck, anything like that?
So
I've got a no from Rachel.
soaked in
Evil, I have
bleach.
Evil's shaking his head. Svend, I would assume that you'd watched something in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Soaked in bleach. I don't think I've seen Montage of Heck. And then I
Montage
watched,
of Heck is fucking bullshit. It is a
Is that the one they
it is
debunked?
It's just a terrible fucking documentary where they're, you know, the thing that they do where they're showing like early footage of Kurt Cobain as a little kid, like going around and fucking, you know, playing concerts and shit. And if you put it on mute, it's just a kid going around having fun. But
Right.
then it's, you know, the background, you've
music,
got like,
yeah.
something in the way. And it's like, oh, it's so dark. What's he about to do to himself? It's so fucking terrible. And Soaked in Bleach, the problem with Soaked in Bleach is like every single fucking person that was involved has come out to say they mutilated the shit out of what I said. Like,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think that is that is what
Creative
makes this really
editing.
fun and really shitty.
Yeah.
Is that there's no way in hell anybody knows what happened because everybody is so full of shit in this
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Even the people closest to him.
Especially the people closest to him.
Yes, especially, yes.
him. Heroin addicts are fucking
creepy.
creeps, man.
Yeah.
Turns out they're creepy. They do some weird
Who
shit
would've
to get
thought?
more
Turns
heroin.
out they're
People living in another dimension might not be attached to reality.
At the end of the day, documentaries ultimately are a form of entertainment.
Yes.
To be a viable product, they have to be.
Right.
And so there's always some narrative that you got to be like, is that what's the take? What's the story? What's the perspective?
Right.
I always question documentaries because of that, because they have to be a financially viable product. They're not forensic evidence.
you got to have the creepy music in the background. You got to
Yeah.
have the I very much agree. That said, I do fucking love documentaries, man.
I'm
Same.
the same. I eat them up.
Yeah.
I love them.
What's your favorite documentary of all time? Anybody?
Wild Wild Country.
Supersize Me.
Oh, see, and that was the biggest load of shit.
Yeah, it really
Supersize
was.
Me. Wild Wild Country was amazing. Fucking Blackfish is mine. I'll watch Blackfish every fucking night, man. God damn, that movie's incredible. Sven, do you have any documentaries that you love?
I love the
Montage
one that
Effect?
David Attenborough narrated, like the last one that he did.
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth.
Different.
Like it's a series, I guess.
You can trust Planet Earth.
That's the
They have an agenda.
That's the Svendus answer. I love that so much.
Nah, I just could listen to that dude. Like, he could read the
Sure.
freaking dictionary. I'd be like, the smart.
I
British
want
guy.
him to be the voice of my AI assistant in the future. I want it to be David Attenborough.
If you die and someone were to like read you a eulogy, like I want him to like I know. I mean, like
Amazing.
that's
I
the
want Bobcat Goldthwait,
Oh my God.
which actually close friends with Kurt Cobain. It all ties together,
Yikes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my
we got a
God.
lot to do, you guys. We
God.
got to get to the most important part of the night. What are we drinking? Svend, are you still drinking the
Do I have
greatest
to make
concoction
another one of these
that you?
fucking things?
Is it the same one?
No, you can have a beer.
You've had like 3 or 4 beers and then a couple sips of liquid heroin.
Rumpeljaegers.
Yeah. We're on to your tricks, Svend.
Rumpeljaegers.
Yeah,
What is it?
Rumpeljaeger liquid heroin is not great. Okay, yeah, so this is what I'm chasing it with. Badazafa, okay, because Georgetown is a brewery in Seattle, and I don't know if you guys know it,
Yeah.
but Nirvana, a Seattle band,
They are?
even though I don't
is?
think any of them ever lived in Seattle.
Yeah, Kurt's house.
I mean,
was
they
in-
lived
Suburbs.
in some of them lived in Seattle, but they weren't. They sure. as shit
Okay,
weren't
okay, from whatever.
Bodhisattva. I like it.
Georgetown.
You love an IPA.
I do. You know what I love the most about this brewery? On every single beer, right at the top, it gives you instructions to please refrigerate because, quote, warm beer sucks.
Oh, that's good advice.
And there's people that don't know that
Fuck
yet.
you,
So I
Brits.
feel like as a PSA,
How would you not know that?
they win.
Rachel, what are you drinking?
The second half of my 24 ounce of Pabst.
Pabst Blue Ribbon. It's as American as it fucking gets if you're a beer drinker.
It really
God
is.
damn it. If you don't know the story of PBR,
They made cheese. They made cheese in the 20s during Prohibition.
Did they?
Yeah.
You say it's
Smirking.
the most American of beers, but
Oh.
yes.
Well-
Evil is offended.
no, because I'm drinking the most American of whiskeys.
Oh, which is
Michter's American whiskey.
it most American because it has the name American in it?
That's
I
right.
totally misread that.
That's fair. Okay.
I thought we were going on like a whole Bud Light tangent.
I know. I thought you
Same.
were like, by
I
the
thought we were
way,
going
PBR
down like Kid Rock
actually
Road.
sponsored
America's
the
beer.
Nazis. I am drinking the fake America's beer, Coors Light.
Coors.
The mountains are blue,
Yeah, they are.
and I'm getting drunk,
That means
ladies
they're
and
cold.
gentlemen.
Cold.
Go, hey, Rachel, left hand or right hand?
Left hand.
Ooh.
Left hand. Left hand.
Wait,
Wrong answer.
why not both?
Largo Bay strawberry rum.
Are you
We're
just gonna take a
little bit
shot?
of a shot. We're talking about Cobain. This is a
Need a
big
shot
deal.
of something.
Shooting things.
I mean, good God, this is not going to be good. Ladies and gentlemen,
You picked it up.
Kurt Cobain. We're going to talk about him. We got a fucking lot to get into. I am sure this is going to be a two-parter. We'll take a break right after we cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, bottoms up.
Yay!
Just like the blood of an American.
Not that bad to shoot. It's terrible, but it's not.
See? I picked right.
It's terrible.
It's
Question
sugary,
me.
alcoholic-y.
It's the best kind.
Is it better than Rumpelminz and Jaeger?
No, nothing is.
We can timeline this. We can take turns going down rabbit holes. We can do whatever we want. I can just kind of start with a bit of a timeline. If anybody wants to jump in, jump in. We've all had a few drinks. We're ready to go. This is when the podcast gets really fucking good. I'm telling you right now.
It's gonna get weird.
You're going to trust me. You're going to have to trust me. October 1st, 1987, Kurt Cobain moves to Olympia, Washington. For those of you that don't know, at one point in Boise, Idaho, there was a bar that you could get 50-cent Oli beers at, and they were really gross. Olympia has beer. It's just really important to the story. December 1st, 1989, Bleach is released. And January 12th, 1990.
Can I say, in that same bar in Boise, Idaho,
really.
up until like a year ago, you could still get those same Olympia beers
Not
less
right.
than $1.
For real? Damn.
Not the same bar.
What about the
same
fish tacos?
owner?
Could you get the fish-
Same owner and promoter that
Owner and
opened a
proponer.
bar around the corner and at that bar.
Owner
I
and
love it.
proponer right around the corner.
Damn, there's my song for one song a month. That's mine
Okay.
for next month.
Fucking stoner.
Here's why I don't think that's true. I called my good friend Vince Polio earlier to ask him what the name of Olympia beer was, which is Olympia.
You don't think what's
You had to
I'm
ask.
getting there, David. Can you
What?
take it down a notch?
No.
I couldn't remember. I was like, you used to drink Pabst and what other beer? It was, but they made it in Olympia. It was Olympia. Anyway, it's the water. So I said, do they still make these? The brewery shut down.
You can go to Winco right now and buy Olympia beer. I don't know. Somebody's brewing
The
it.
internet is telling me that the brewery shut down in 2003. So who's making the beer?
I don't know.
Conspiracy number one is right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Pabst owns them.
Sven's working for Big
there you
Olympia.
go. I just
That's
know,
where it is.
I just know that
Pabst owns them.
you remember the finale that we did at the creepy cabin
You
in
know
the
what I
woods?
just realized?
I brought
What
Olympia
doesn't
beer to
work?
that cabin.
When all four of us are drunk for an episode, it does not work.
It's fine.
January 12th, 1990, right after Bleach, Kurt and a little lady named Courtney Love start their relationship. September 24th, 1991, Nirvana is released. August 18th, 1992, pretty soon after, Frances Bean is born of Courtney Love.
Wait, did you say Nirvana
and,
is released?
The one guy that we're talking about. Frances
Never mind.
Bean.
No, you did say never
Oh,
mind.
never mind.
Frances
Or
Bean was
Nirvana.
released.
Never mind.
She was
It
released.
was released from captivity
She
in the
was,
womb.
Damn it. And then at this point, after 92, we can really go all the way up to 93 and 94, where a shit ton of stuff starts to happen because of drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start our talk about Sid and Nancy themselves, Courtney Love and Kurt Cobain. So, Courtney Love, whether you think she did it or not, there is no hiding the fact that she was a tenacious, conniving, ambitious person at a time in the early 90s where it wasn't hip to be ambitious. It was cool to be not a bit. Do you guys remember the movie? Why did I just blank on it? Huge early 90s movies. Winona Ryder. I was literally just talking about it.
Reality Bites.
Do you guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Ben Stiller being the bad guy?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember why he was the bad guy?
Because he had a job.
Because he had a job. And
Because he was
wanted to,
successful.
He wanted
and
to
responsible.
fund her art. And so he was this evil fuckbag. Like, that's where we were at this time.
Yeah.
She was ambitious at a time where it wasn't hip to be ambitious. She was good at knowing who was going to be big and getting in with them. Courtney was also a trust fund kid. She had sued for emancipation when she was young. She was getting payments from her parents.
Yeah.
And she was using that money to do things like
Drugs.
help out bands, buy food, buy them drugs. There was a reason for this.
They had a prenup
They did have a prenup.
They
to
did have a
protect
prenup.
her.
Not Kurt's prenup. That's kind of where I'm wanting to start with this. Is Courtney was that person. She was the grunge Suge Knight. She was the
Wow.
paying people to beat the shit out of other people and
Right.
weird shit like that.
I mean, I think the way that it's like their relationship is kind of universally viewed is that not knowing her background is that Kurt Cobain was a meal ticket for her. That she very much thought her involvement with him would make her star rise and her more popular. And so, and also then when she killed him, that people would be more sympathetic and then listen to her music more.
Wait, are you saying that's what you think happened, or are you saying that's the
That is,
general?
I feel like that's the universal thought on Courtney
What
Love.
are your thoughts?
They are mixed because I may have gone into like the autopsy, like chemical stuff that was going on, as well as
Love
the
it. Love it.
I
Take a fucking drink of your beer and just fucking say it, man. Say what you want to say.
I think she married him for fame, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think, but I think that that's the end of it. I think that was that's it.
Okay.
I don't think it moved past that
S-
into other people's conspiracy theories.
Sven, you being the guy that you are, being the Nirvana obsessor that you were of the time, what were your thoughts on were you a Courtney Did It guy? Were you what were your thoughts?
When Kurt Cobain died, I was 11.
Okay.
So what did you
Yeah,
think as a
I
fifth or sixth
absolutely
grader?
didn't know. Since then, just what I think anyone that's like started to even like if you peeked into this, you don't have to go down rabbit holes. If you've just pulled back a few pages,
Right.
you can tell there's not going to be any despite the fact that I have one that I'm going to give you the conclusive answer at the end of this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Nobody else will because it doesn't exist. Because you can dig all you want, and there will
Yeah.
always be a gap in the information. No matter how close you get to joining all the fucking dots, there's going to be that one gap that you're like, I can have a really strong hunch, but I will never be able to prove this like in court. There's nothing that it's like judicial court evidence of suicide, of murder, of foul play, of whatever. If you really had to just take things at face value, that's ruling it as a suicide is the easiest thing to do by the court, because then you save a lot of resources.
It also doesn't require any cop work, which they didn't do.
Right.
They didn't dust for prints. They didn't.
They did, just not until like a month and a
Yeah,
half
they
later.
didn't do fucking anything.
I've been all over the place with this. One thing that I can say without giving away the actual answer is that you should definitely not do heroin, guys.
Okay, but
Well, yeah.
But Sven, have you heard in utero?
I've heard in utero.
It's
You,
good.
if you want to write good music,
utero.
you might want to do a little heroin.
I
Just
think
saying.
it's not worth it. As great as that album is, it's still not my full disclosure. It's also not my favorite Nirvana album. It's a great album. I don't know. That's the point I'm sticking to. Don't do heroin, kids. Drugs are bad. Okay?
Evil.
Just smoke weed.
Heroin's not
or
popular
something.
anymore anyway.
Do something like that.
Setting you up here, you can lay a bunt down and wait for the next inning to hit a homer, or you can go now. Courtney Love, do you think that was maybe not? She might not have done it. Do you think that relationship was the demise of Kurt, or do you think that there was something completely different at play here?
We've all seen the movie Gladiator, have we not? The first one. Not that
we
none of
have.
us has seen the sequel, but
Yeah.
it's, it'll be out soon. With
Father to a murdered son, husband of a murdered bride, and I
Yeah.
will have my revenge.
the speech
this life
that when Commodus and Marcus Aurelius, his father, are in like the tent,
The tent.
at camp,
Yeah.
And Commodus says, "You wrote to me once listing the 4 chief virtues: wisdom, justice, fortitude, and temperance. As I read the list, I knew I had none of them, but I have other virtues, Kurt: ambition, resourcefulness, courage, devotion." That's Courtney.
So Courtney is Joaquin Phoenix in Gladiators, basically
Yes.
what your take is.
Yes.
I love this so
Yes. I think she helped both drive and destroy Nirvana.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
much. Absolutely.
Dude, Courtney's influence on Kurt, who can not see that? Like that's more
think-
clear
so-
than like Yoko and John.
I mean, you can look at Blake Civil Felter, whatever the fuck his name was, too. I mean, giving Amy the drugs,
Oh,
like, helped her be a better musician.
Yeah.
Like, all these people that you feel are dragging them down or making them create better
I
art.
think there was a different beast in Courtney, because I do think even when you hear her talk about her being like a quote unquote drug addict herself, there are multiple people that in interviews talk about how she would do like just enough drugs to be like, I'm a drug addict. You know what I mean? The people in that inner circle knew who was fucking addicted to whatever and who wasn't. And
Right.
she was
Right.
playing that role. Like certain things that she would say about how she would, well, Kurt would do $400 of heroin a day and I would do $40. And the people that knew what they were talking about are like, that's not a fucking thing. That's not, it doesn't work like that. I do like kind of to what Evil said. I think everything was so carefully, meticulously planned with her. Like every single move
Right.
was completely planned with her. I honestly, like, it's funny because my whole life growing up, just because I was a young boy, it was just the romantic part of it. Courtney did it. That was just my thing. And then it was like last year that I was doing this pod and I think we were covering Hole or something like that. And I was like, they're just heroin addicts. It's just fucking shit that happens. And then I studied for this again and I'm like, I don't know. I don't really know, guys.
You know how many times I've been right there?
Oh, man.
Right where you're right. That I don't
Okay.
know. That there's a lot of evidence. I've been there like at least like 12 times in my life. I'm not saying I'm not there.
It kind of,
I'm not saying I'm not there now.
this kind of reminds me of that story of that really bad TV series with Elle Fanning, of that girl that talked her boyfriend into suicide. Like he was he was already suicidal, but she
Yeah.
just kind of pushed
Like
him over the
700
edge.
texts that were like, why haven't you done it yet?
Yeah, like get back in the truck, be a man.
that
like,
was fucked up,
Yeah.
man.
It was, but this kind of has those vibes of like he probably already had like a lot of issues going on. But if we're gonna put the blame on somebody to help push him over the edge, Evil, you could say
Pointing
words.
to the
Look, heroin addicts bring in shitty people to their inner
Sure.
circle. It's just
Well,
that,
I
and
think-
Kurt Cobain was the perfect.
he's got something to say. I want to know what it is.
Okay. I had to like pause and stop and think about we're doing a podcast about this, about someone who is no longer with us. Multiple people actually who are no longer with us,
Yep.
because there's more than just Kurt Cobain who in this like greater inner circle of band
Associates.
members and acquaintances and friends.
Yeah.
Who
Wait a
have
minute.
died.
You're saying Dave Grohl did it?
David,
Oh my god. No, here's me, like conspiracy therapist that I am. I latch onto something. I'm like, oh, this is juicy, and like, I think because we're creating a public product for people to listen to, I have to temper that a little bit, and I have to be like, dog, did you hear about this and this part over here and that, and like,
See, I feel like it's the opposite.
I think if anyone is listening, they're already that far.
I feel like we should
And you
speculate.
can just keep.
Maybe it's just because I'm in fuck it mode, but I kind of just want to speculate. Wow.
Here's what let me preface everything that I'm going to say from this point on in the podcast with this. I have no idea how truthful any of this is because I have not researched it. I have not
Yes.
gone to the
Same.
police departments and requested the evidence.
Right.
But
Yes.
what it sounds like happened is like this was deemed a suicide very quickly with very
It was.
little, like
Immediately.
with the most cursory of investigations possible, without a toxicology report, without prints, without a lot of stuff.
So there was a really bad toxicology report.
Yes.
Not very long after this case was the big case in the news, O.J. Simpson happens. And no one cares about this anymore. Kurt Cobain killed himself. Move on. Play Unplugged on MTV over and over and over again. Mourn him. Move on. Let's watch this trial because it's a
Feeling you're
fucking train
confused.
wreck
You
and it's
went,
more
like,
entertaining
one
now.
level more than I ever did in like 12 years.
You know, that's the thing is you sit on this shit long enough and it's like everybody just fucking, he killed himself. Who gives a fuck? It's like, but why? Why are we, I don't know fucking Courtney Love, but if I look at her and I look at her interviews and I look at everything, can I honestly say that would be above her planning to kill Kurt Cobain? Fuck no. Hell no. And I cannot state this enough. Heroin addicts, the people that they surround themselves with are fucking terrible people. You look at the people in this story. The fucking
Right.
Eldon Hoke, like El Duce or whatever the fuck his name was. Richard Lee, that journalist that basically like Perez Hilton this shit for like
Yeah.
5 years. Like the people in the story are fucking
Wild.
terrible
Look
people.
how fast they died.
And you're telling me
after
not
Kurt.
one of them would have done something like this?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The bass player of Hole died not too long after Kurt.
Couple months.
Like 2
No,
months. Yeah.
it was like 10 weeks actually.
One of the detectives on the case died. And I'm not saying that these are all related things. It's just like when so many things start stacking up, it makes me be like, is the public story actually the accurate story?
Right.
Allegedly, he was found with receipts in his pocket from the purchase of the firearm, which was a shotgun.
The shells.
Right, and the shells. But somebody else actually purchased the shotgun.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's
and
the
the-
thing. I don't even know if that's true or not.
Exactly. But it's the what I have heard as well, and studying for this again, is that was it a cab driver that said that he took Kurt Cobain because there was proof that Kurt Cobain did take a cab
Right.
to a guns and ammo store, and the cab driver was the one that said I went in and like he was like I need to buy, and it was a 20 gauge.
It's 20 gauge.
That was what
it's a Remington
that's
20
what's
gauge
fucking-
with a choke at the end, which allegedly is too long to even do this with unless you're like using your feet.
Which he wasn't because he had Converse on.
He had
shoes were on.
his shoes were tied when his dead body was found. So how could he pull the trigger with his toe? I don't know if any of this is fucking even
Also,
real.
he was not tall, so he doesn't have
Exactly.
arms for it either. He's
Right.
5'9".
Also, who uses a 20 gauge to kill themselves? Like it's not even a go through. There wasn't
So-
even an exit wound.
Well,
Now,
Like it doesn't.
the toxicology report.
Yeah.
Like let's talk about that. Like
let's.
allegedly
so much heroin.
way more, so
Okay.
much heroin in his system that he wouldn't have
no way-
even been
So,
conscious.
there wasn't-
And yet, also allegedly,
Tolerance, is that what you're?
There wasn't. There. They didn't
Sure.
differentiate between the amount of unmetabolized drugs in his system
Yeah.
versus the amount of.
Well, and that's the
Right.
problem with heroin
Right.
is that they've never been able to do proper testing on heroin because you can't
Yep.
test heroin. It just
Yeah.
like what are you gonna do? Like
So
go
the-
to a fucking college student
amounts-
and be like, hey, can we give you
Yeah.
heroin until you
a
OD?
college student, yes, you can give them heroin.
There's no way to
No.
know how much
Maybe.
heroin is normally in his system when he's using versus that particular day.
also, obviously, he was a heroin user addict.
Yeah.
What if the story of how bad he was in that scene was maybe fudged a little bit to
Exaggerated.
make him look like he was more of an addict than he
Yeah.
actually was?
Well, none of his friends,
also,
none of the people around him, and we got to stop saying it, but we can
Hearsay.
whatever. It's whatever, but you hear this a lot in suicide stories, but none of his friends, none of the people that surrounding him were like, he wasn't the only person that said that he was suicidal was Courtney.
Right.
Nobody else Nobody in the band, like they said he looked like shit because the heroin, but nobody was like, he's not fucking suicidal. Like, he's not.
Well, and the whole incident that where he overdosed before on Rufinol and champagne
In Rome.
and then he went into rehab, but didn't come out as a suicide attempt until after he had already died. And then Courtney was like, oh, he tried to do this, like, you know,
Well, and the
back in March.
toxicology report there, where Courtney was like, well, he took like 70 pills. And the doctor was like, no, he fucking didn't.
No, he didn't.
There's just so many anomalies.
Different.
Why are the
Yes.
last 4 lines of the note that he wrote
In a completely
like,
different
Right.
handwriting, which maybe.
Why are there
maybe
no
he was,
prints on the thing?
Maybe he was
like,
fucked up
what-
with the
what-
suicide note. Maybe with the last 4 notes,
He
was
also
so
put
fucked
away
up
his
that then
kit.
he was like,
Really
Right.
neatly.
Sure.
You don't go inject yourself and then put your
Yes, also
Yes.
true.
Yes. Why is it neatly put away? And his favorite root beer is right next to him.
Why is the gun facing the other direction?
Then where the cartridge would have ejected to?
The
like
opposite
there's
side.
so many. Oh my god.
It's like, God,
Yeah, I tell you what, I knew none of this stuff
Right.
a few days ago. Oh
my God.
Like a
I'm
week,
so excited.
a week and a half ago. I knew
I
none
wish
of
I would
this.
have known that.
And then I'm just like,
discovering all the things.
We should have recorded you live
As you're reading all
some
this
of that.
oh my
information.
god, oh my god. Even the timing, like there was an electrician that Courtney called to go do work in the greenhouse where he was found, the loft area above the garage, who didn't show up until a few days later because he missed the time. Like he couldn't make it to the appointment, and so that he showed up like way later than he was supposed to. There was a private investigator contracted
By
to find
Courtney Love.
him.
He eventually
because he's,
turned on her, right?
By Courtney
Tom
Love.
Grant.
Why did nobody look in the place where he was?
Yeah.
Tom Grant was the one that
Yes.
did
Yeah.
the Soaked in Bleach
Yeah.
documentary.
Yeah.
And Tom Grant, like if you read anything you read on him, he was a good cop. He was a good investigator. He has a really good reputation. Like there wasn't any scumminess. He didn't get any money from it or anything like that. He was the one guy in the story that it felt like really wanted to just figure out what the fuck happened to Kurt Cobain. And what was weird about him is his story with Courtney Love, which was that he was originally hired by Courtney Love. Courtney Love just said, I want you to investigate. My husband's credit card was stolen. And then when he meets her, she changes her story and says, okay, his credit card wasn't stolen, but he escaped from rehab, which was true. He got out of rehab. He like jumped over some fucking,
Right.
wall of where they go smoke cigarettes and was missing. And she wants him found there. And the story just kept changing. And this was fucking 2 days before he was found.
Why did the person who actually purchased the shotgun be able to buy a home in Southern California for $350,000 with cash not too long after this all happened?
Ooh, I like that. I didn't know that.
Why is Macaulay Culkin's sister, who was dating one of the people in the home, allegedly, I don't know this for sure, why was she there? Why did she, and she died of a drug overdose in like early 2000.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying not to name names. I'm like, this is all such conjecture.
Well, and it
Like
is.
I have
And
a list of
her name's
8
Jennifer.
names who were allegedly there when all of this happened.
And
like 8 people.
And there's plenty of stuff too that can go that you can say the other thing about, and that's the
Yeah,
thing is
100%, 100%.
Everything here, everything that you read, everything that is said in documentaries and things like that, you can easily spin it to where it's obviously
The
suicide,
other way.
or it's obviously a murder. It's really, really easy to do. Courtney Love also called that rehab that he escaped from 13 different times, pretending to be different people trying to find him. Why would you do that if you were planning, like if you weren't worried about him? And
and she right. On the other hand, she allegedly gave a statement as acting as his mom at one point.
But you could say that she did that because at that time, people thought of her as a fucked up heroin addict, and they weren't going to listen to her. So she was trying to get people to pay attention and find her.
Right. Ambition, resourcefulness, courage, and devotion.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. We're deep into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get
my
even deeper.
God.
We're
Yes.
going to take a break. We're going to be right back. We are back. I have one quick rebuttal, and then I have a couple questions, and we'll get more into this. Specifically to Evil, just because he's so new to the conspiracies, and this is super fun for me.
Just let Evil talk.
Going through it for the first time with him.
I know.
Everybody fucking hates Courtney Love.
At this time.
From cops to
Yeah.
famous people to the people around her. This is my only thing, is I feel like if people had shit on Courtney Love, she would
Yeah.
be in prison. Because
But here's the thing. She also has money.
Like,
And you know rich people get away with shit. Like they just pay everyone off.
I mean, she had the rights to Nirvana music for a long time. Not to mention the fact that Kurt Cobain, after his last show, immediately called his lawyer, said that he wanted a will written up where Courtney Love was not in it, but obviously he died before he got around to signing it and things like that. So I just argued against myself. Go ahead, Evil.
And she called the exact same lawyer and said, "Find me the nastiest divorce lawyer that you can find."
Hey, so we all know who those extra royalties were gonna go to that Kurt was asking for.
You know what this whole thing makes really, really fucking weird to me? Nirvana's Hall of Fame. Did you guys watch that? It was pretty, when Nirvana got inducted in the Hall of Fame, it was really cool. Chris and Dave Grohl played a set, like 4 songs with female singers. St. Vincent, Lord.
Okay.
I don't remember who else did it, but it was really fucking great. But when they accepted the award, Courtney Love came up, and it was infamous because it was the first time that Dave Grohl and Courtney Love were like next to each other, and they embraced, they hugged and stuff like that, and it was really
Gross.
Oh.
yeah,
It was really
super
gross.
Courtney was terrible to Dave Grohl too. Like there were stories that do you guys remember one of the reasons that people hated Courtney Love so much was the Vanity Fair
Right.
write-up where she talked about like shooting up while she was pregnant with Frances Bean.
Right.
And she talked shit about Dave Grohl in that one. When Frances Bean was whatever age, Courtney Love had said that Dave Grohl tried to fuck her. Oddly on offense for Dave Grohl. And I think it's because she knew that Dave Grohl is equally pretty fucking ambitious.
Competition.
And I wonder if there's some stuff there about
So I did read this article that was talking about how she wasn't like a girl's girl and was kind of competitive with other people that were like very good. If anybody seemed good at their job, she would hate them and see them as competition. And so very well could have, spilled over into Dave Grohl as well.
She is talented, very intelligent. Like she's like just walked into
Right.
acting roles and killed it. Like
Dangerously
she's a very
so.
capable human
Yes.
being.
Because of that Vanity Fair and a few other things, when Frances Bean was first born, she was actually taken away
Right.
for a few months, protective services.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the caseworker said that Courtney Love is, quote, the most shrewd, cunning, devious person I've ever met.
Yeah.
That was a
From
direct
Child
quote from the
Protective
caseworker.
Services. Talking about the mother of a child. I don't know. That's just
She's fucking Commodus. I'm telling you. That is who she is.
We were just talking about Nirvana Unplugged. Do you guys know about Penny Royalty?
So she helped write it, right?
She tried to say she
Right.
did, and she tried to take the rights from Kurt Cobain himself.
And she performed it a lot.
She did. She tried to use it as a whole song. That's when Kurt called his manager and lawyer and said, "Please do not
Yeah.
let
that's the
Courtney
song.
Love
The
steal
whole
this
band
song
did
from
not
me."
play with Kurt. They're like, yeah, you do this one yourself. This is not my monkey, not my
resourcefulness.
circus.
Courage.
There is a very, very easy aspect of this that Kurt was such a perfect.
God, he was a patsy.
He was addicted to heroin. He hated confrontation.
Yeah.
He was, I don't know.
He was made for Courtney
Yeah.
and her goals.
One of the things that I have a really hard time with is how many people came out afterwards and said, like Courtney was talking about how suicidal he was all the time.
Right.
And everybody else was like, no, he wasn't. Like, what do we, like, I am shocked that this happened.
Yeah, he's
And
a mess, but he's not that.
He's not, he didn't want to kill himself. Like,
Right.
and I get it. You hear that a lot with suicides. You hear that a lot. Like people around, except for, it's like Ian Curtis is the only one that people are like, well, fuck, we should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm old enough now to know if Kurt killed himself, I don't care. Like, it's not, this isn't a thing that like, God, I just don't want him to have killed himself. It doesn't make sense to me. What do you think, Svend? You've been oddly quiet through this, Svend.
He has the answer.
Okay.
Oh, that's
waiting to-
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just biding your
mean,
fucking time
yeah,
with your
he's
dark
waiting.
purple
I am.
background.
Playing the long
Biding my
con.
time. I was gonna hold out a little longer.
But we're just
because
gonna
you
go.
because you said what you were gonna say. Like honestly, that's the answer. What you just said, DL. Does it fucking matter?
That's your answer?
Does it?
It doesn't matter?
My answer is does it fucking matter? Does it change who Kurt Cobain was? Does
Yes.
it change the art that he created?
No.
Does it change the impact that he had? Does it change your favorite songs? Does it change the things you like about Nirvana?
I think Svend is basically saying that this episode is bullshit.
Okay, it's not bullshit because I think that it's a good conversation to have. But I think that anyone that enters into this conversation, and I'm going to say this because I've wrestled on both sides of the fence. Courtney did it. Courtney didn't do it. Kurt committed suicide. Kurt was murdered. I've argued that with myself and with other people for years. And where I've found myself, this is 2024. He died in 1994. You know how many fucking crystal clear answers have appeared to anybody? Nobody.
Yeah.
No one. There's not a fucking... It's just like arguing, did Jesus actually get born by virgin birth? Does it fucking matter?
I mean, that matters to a lot of people.
I'm incredibly intrigued by that.
It does, but does it?
No, I get.
And that's what I'm trying to say. With Kurt Cobain, he died because of decisions he made and the lifestyle he was living. And it probably happened because of positions he allowed himself to be in. And whether he pulled the actual trigger, does it really matter? Eventually, he's going to expire. We all do. You talk about the 27 Club. I don't know that we actually, I don't think we actually have in either of these two episodes, the 27 Club.
We haven't.
Not yet.
No, we haven't mentioned
But-
it. But
I used to have like this weird obsession with turning 27 because of the people that died. These Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix. You got these guys, gals that I used to obsess over 27. And like when I turn 20, I better have all my shit in line before I turn 27 because when I turn 27, I'm an artist. I view myself as that. And when I turn 27, it's all over. No one will ever be able to know what actually happened in that greenhouse.
oh, it's very true.
And it doesn't take away from what he contributed.
Yeah, but the problem, Sven, is that it is fun. That's why people listen to podcasts, because it's fun to talk about what might have happened or what might not have happened. And to be completely clear, what the next episode, what I was planning on and what the next episode will be about is a little less conspiracy theory-ish, what he brought to 94.
You're telling me I just killed your next episode.
it
God
kind
damn
of-
it.
You kind of did.
You can
No.
just cut all that out. Like
It's a-
that's why I was saving it for the end.
Because it's a good look. It's a very, very earnest and true, and it's a Sven take. Because you're right. You're absolutely right. It doesn't fucking matter. But at the same time, it probably matters to Francis. Like
Yeah.
he had a fucking kid, man. Heroin addicts are shitty parents, and this and that. But
You brought up a really good point, David, and that is, as the child in this situation, it makes a pretty big difference in your head if you think your parent couldn't stay around for you. or if they were murdered. That's a very different situation in my
Yeah.
head of how my parent died. You know what I mean? And I think, yes, it absolutely does not take away from the music that he gave the world, but at 1,000%, you know, people that commit suicide have a mental illness, point blank, and that's totally fine. But it also, you know, as fans and as family, you know, would like to know, like, I didn't see this. Is this my fault that this happened because I didn't see that my son, brother, friend was mentally ill? Or did this happen because somebody made it happen? You know? And I think in that way, it does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely acknowledge that.
Maybe.
It definitely, but does it matter? Does it not? Okay. I that was very strong wording. Are we ever going to know? We're not.
No.
I guess what I was getting at is that, like, at some point, do you keep pushing?
Sure.
I mean, how many decades has it been?
I think, okay, there was a lot of stuff leading up to this that can go either way. There were. Kurt Cobain talked a lot about these weird stomach pains that he was having and stuff like that, which from what I've read is a fairly common heroin addict-y sort of thing to do. Like we talked about with Unplugged, he was having withdrawals. He was having issues. I think it's weird that he did try to go to rehab. I think the big thing that everybody has said many times during this episode is that, you know, this is a big grain of salt episode. And because of that, Svend, I completely agree with what you're saying. And I do, obviously nobody's ever going to know. Maybe it's a fucked up sort of topic of how do we even approach it. But there's also a part of the music industry that's very... a lot of the relationship drama that was going on with Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love was used, not by them, but by record executives and things like that to sell albums. It's the same way that like the fucking Jay-Z Beyonce shit that happened, you know, right before Lemonade came out, completely coincidentally, and, you know, shit like that. And we're a music podcast. Like, we're gonna fucking talk about it, you know. Old man sigh.
Digging into this and finding so many anomalies that even make me doubt the actual narrative. It makes me think, like, it makes me so fucking angry because the what ifs make me angry. And I almost don't even want to vocalize them because I almost feel like it's irresponsible. But like, what if the story was it wasn't a suicide and it was a murder?
Right.
The social impact of what he was and his suicide and the glorification of that and the impact upon the public. Like, how many people went down that road because he did, in quotes.
That's the copycat suicides.
Sure.
There
And
were
that-
hundreds of them. Yeah.
But on the other hand, like what Svend said is most likely true. We'll never know. So is it even worth the anger that I'm like feeling? Like, now I'm angry that I'm angry.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, fuck.
I feel like for our generation, and Jimmy, I know you're super old, but I'll include you in it. This is, he was, sorry.
I'm a pajama.
He was our like first rock star to pass away. And so I feel like we want to know, because he was somebody that massively influenced this generation.
He was our John Lennon.
Yeah.
Well, and just reduce it to the, if this was like a murder scenario, me personally, as a human, I want justice for those things.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
true.
Personally. Like,
Yeah.
if that is the case, I'm not saying it is. If it is, I want justice for the people or person who committed that. It feels wrong that just to be, no, let it go. It's in the past. I personally, and maybe that's a me thing, I'm like, I can't let that fucking go.
Yeah.
Like, if that is the case, that is a wrong that hasn't been righted. On the other hand, the fact that we most likely will never know,
Right.
I have to just, for my soul, I have to just goose
That's
rub
where
on.
I'm
I
at.
have to let it
Is
go.
that like, I've gotten to the point where there's no way possible to ever know as fact to be 100% sure. And that's why I say, like, does it matter? We're all going to draw different conclusions from the little bit of evidence, the lack of evidence that's available to all of us. And so we're never going to absolutely know for sure 100% what happened.
Do you know what else pisses me off?
Lots of things.
Yeah, many things, but related to this is that teenagers will just throw on a Nirvana shirt like it's a fucking brand and have no idea about anything we're talking about right now.
My daughter asked me for a Nirvana shirt 2 nights ago. I think I had told her what we were doing or something like that. And I said, you can, but
Name 3 Nirvana
you have to
songs.
listen.
You
have
need to
listen
do the
Nirvana
work.
with me.
Yeah.
Now, in her defense, I'm good enough of a dad that when I turned on Nirvana, she was like, oh, I love this song. And she was singing along and stuff. So I was like, okay, you've earned a Nirvana shirt. So she gets a Nirvana shirt.
Yeah.
But it's very accurate. Yeah. It's the cool thing now.
Yeah.
Is a fucking Nirvana shirt.
Yeah, band logos are essentially like clothing brands at this point.
Yeah.
Losercore has become like the new trend, and it
Losercore.
literally is everything we used to wear to
I'm
school.
going to end this episode so we can get to the next one. We got to loosen it up a bit. I'm going to end it with one question. Who's going to have the most intriguing answer to this?
Not me.
I'm going to start with Rachel. Rachel, is Kurt Cobain the last true great rock star?
No. I mean, that's where grunge died. So I guess in the grunge era that he was. But I don't think that he's the last true rock star. I think there's plenty more where that came from.
Svend, do you think that Kurt Cobain was the last true great rock star?
No, the last true great rock star hasn't been born yet.
Ooh.
Okay. Evil, do you think that Kurt Cobain was the last true great rock star?
I hope not.
That's a good answer.
David?
Studying for this episode, maybe I just wanted to take a left and say yes. I think it's just the perfection of, as ironic as it is about how fucked up we're talking about how he went out. The way he went out was so perfect for the narration of the story of the rock star, of the last album into the Sid and Nancy Courtney Love Kurt Cobain, Nirvana Unplugged, blowing his own brains out after shooting up heroin, possibly. There's something sorry, it's dark, but that's evil. That's what we want from our rock stars, right?
Dude, that's the Bill Hicks bit.
Exactly. I don't see this ever happening again. And I is it funny that I'm about to say, I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's another heroin addict that's going to come out and kick our asses. I don't know.
I for one very much hope that being a rock star doesn't involve all that tragedy. I think we're evolving as a species. Yeah, very slowly. Very slowly.
I think that you are a much more positive person than me.
Yeah.
And
Try
that's
to
why
be, because if
that's
not,
why
what I
I
have
love you
left
very
would
much.
just make me want to die.
That's why you're the yin to my yang.
Aw.
Any other thoughts before we get into the second part of this? Guys, we're going to lighten it up a bit. It got a little bit dark. I apologize for that. I probably should have seen it going that way.
Well,
There's
the
there's
outline.
a lighter side to Kurt Cobain's death.
There's a lighter side to the 94 of Kurt. And it is what you were talking about. It's the beauty of what he fucking did in 94 artistically. We're going to talk about that next. Ladies and gentlemen, we love you. We're having fun, I promise. We just need a couple drinks, I guess, and a little bit of Marco.
Yeah.
Everybody, take care. We'll see you in 4 days. Good night. And good God, good luck.
Oh,